Master Jam at number 11 on my fancy playlist, July 30th, 1989. How about it, Jody Watley? She was on fire for several years, back in the late 80s, going into the early 90s. Jody Watley and Eric B. and Rakim with Friends. With Eric B. and Rakim into play, you know this is going to be more of an edgier record than some of Jody Watley's more commercial sounding songs. She had those great pop crossovers, R&B pop crossovers, starting in 1987 off her first solo album, Looking for New Love. That went to number 2 on Billboard's Hot 100. And then Don't You Want Me, uh, that was produced by Bernard Edwards of Chic, even more commercial sounding than her first single. And then look at Some Kind of Lover back in 1988. Anybody remember that one? Real Love in 1989 going off her second album. And then we got Friends with Eric B. and Rakim. Jody Watley, formerly of Shalimar. When I think of Shalimar, there was Dancing in the Sheets off of Footloose in 1984. And there was one that I remember from the second, I think it was second time around in the summer of 1980. That was a big crossover for them. Uptown Festival back in 1977. That should have been a massive hit. Disco record with the medley of those old soul and Motown hits. Back in 1977 that Shalimar did. God, that was a great record. Should have been a much bigger hit. But let's go back to Friends by Jody Watley. Jody Watley wanted to write a song called Friends for a long time, but this would be an edgier record. You see, Shalimar, they came out with an album called Friends in 1982, and they had a single called Friends. But Jody Watley wanted to write a song about people who pose as your friends, but they're backstabbers. They're people that just want to hold you down, keep you down, put you down behind your back. She might have, it's possible, and this kind of occurred to me several hours ago, it's possible she might have had in mind songs from the early 70s, those R&B hits from the early 70s like Backstabbers by the O'Jays and Undisputed Truth's Summer of 1971 hit, which was Smiling Faces Sometimes, produced by Norman Whitfield, and Smiling Faces Sometimes, fantastic advice in that record. She might have had those songs in mind. At least that's my theory when she wanted to write this song, Friends. She was wild. Boy, she really got into that duet between Patti LaBelle and Michael McDonald, On My Own, back in 1986, which was a massive, I think it went to number 1 on Billboard's Hot 100. And Jody Watley, she wanted to do a duet on a song called Friends, and but it'd be a duet with a rapper. And she made that proposal, that duet, to a record label, MCA, but they were not enthusiastic. They said, "You want to do a duet with a rapper?" Because, see, back in the late 80s, this was unusual for an artist to do a duet with a rapper. Of course, it's commonplace. It's all the time now. Over the past 20 years, it's very common to hear a singer and then hear somebody come in and rap, but not quite as frequent back in the late 80s. And Jody Watley had a hard time convincing her record label that, we can make this work. So the record company, they come around, they say, okay, maybe this will work, a duet with a rapper. How about Will Smith? But Jody Watley, probably thinking that Will Smith was maybe a little too commercial, she told him, well, look, I think the Fresh Prince, I think they're great. I like them. But I'm thinking about Eric B. and Rakim, somebody with edge, somebody who keeps it real, big time, because she figured that if she co-wrote the song or if he wrote the song, that this would be on spot, what she was looking for. This would be keeping it real about people really, putting you down behind your backs. You get into these social circles, and it looks like everybody really likes you. I'm sure you've probably had that experience, but then it turns out there's one or two that are just really snapping behind your back. So there you go, Friends. Envy, jealousy, and that's what she wanted to do it with Eric B. and Rakim. They did not meet until the video shoot, until they actually shot the video in New York City. I'll be dang. Jody Watley at number 11 on my fantasy playlist, taking a big leap from 22 with Friends on my fantasy playlist, July 30th, 1989.